Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in. And so this message came to me, and it's actually kind of funny because the message came to me, and then one of my close friends posted something about the message, and I was like, all right, confirmation that this needs to be talked about. Um, so when we're thinking about the conditioning that we receive, oftentimes we think about, our core beliefs that came from childhood, and we think about friendships and we think about the people who have access to us, but I think we fall short in our thinking about how the other things in our life that we give full access to us or that we are ruminating on are doing those same type of things that a relationship or people close to us can do. So, whatever you fill your time with is going to influence your thinking, it's going to influence your behaviors, it's going to influence your heart, it's going to influence your values if they're not set in stone. And so, when we think about the media, there is so much influence in the media, and we are unconsciously allowing so much access to our thoughts and our systems, really, like just our emotion, our spirit, etc., when we're consuming the media. And we don't give that same vetting process to the media that we give to the people in our life, right? So when we're consuming media, whether it be the news, whether it be social media, whatever it is, we're not thinking, okay, I need to vet this information to see if this information needs to have a space or an access point in my life. And the reason that that's so dangerous is because algorithms and things of that nature are taking what you're liking and they're taking what you're commenting on and they're taking what you subscribe to and they're feeding you more of that. So if you have a day where, you're lost in your emotions and you're feeling angry or depressed or, frustrated about a relationship that you're in, and you are consuming that information and responding to that information, then you're going to be fed more of that information, which further deepens the danger because the ability to get out of that thought process and out of that situation rests heavily in moving past the emotions of that situation and going to a solution based model. Well, how difficult is it to come to a solution based model if you're still ruminating on the problem based on your algorithm and what you've been liking and commenting on? So you'll notice that if you're commenting on narcissistic abuse, most of your reels and suggested reels to watch are about the abuse itself. If you're ruminating on wholeness and healing and you're watching things on that and commenting on those, then that's what you'll see more of. So when we're really thinking about what we consume and how the media really disrupts our peace, we have to think about the access points that we've been giving to that media to change the way we're thinking, to change our emotional state, to change our mood, or to fuel it in the negative direction that it's been going. And so, some things that we really need to think about when we're consuming media are the first thing is that this is not your grandpa's news. It ain't the same, right? So, like back in the day when newspapers would come out or the broadcasts would come on TV, or even further back in the day when radio was a thing and people were listening to radio shows about the news, it was actual news, right? Like you weren't going to see Kim Kardashian in the newspaper. Like there might have been a page about entertainment, but the news was actual current events that were happening. In fact, when I was in junior high, yes, I'm that old that it was junior high and not middle school then, but when I was in junior high, we used to have to bring newspapers to class and like do assignments based on current events. And they were events that were actually happening, not news that was manipulated into a source that could manipulate your thinking, right? It was just here are the facts. And I have a journalism minor. So this really rings true for me because I remember in those journalism classes, it wasn't about making the news, right? Like you weren't making something newsworthy. You were finding the news and you were writing the story based on the news. And there was a formula for doing it that, attention grabbers are a thing. So you wanted to encapsulate your audience, but you couldn't, and you were taught not to fill that information with sensationalized pieces of gossip and things that weren't factual. In fact, when your editor would see it, they would take those things out because your job and your job only was to report the news. That's your grandpa's news, right? The news that you're getting today is sensationalized and it has an agenda, right? So if you see divisiveness in the news, it was intentional. If you see the same news story being reported by different stations and they're giving you different factoids, then it's sensationalized. They're picking what they want you to know based on their agenda for that news story. So when you're watching the news and you find yourself depressed or you find yourself feeling the divisiveness or you find yourself feeling hatred toward another group of people or any of those emotions that are big emotions, it was intended to do that. The agenda was to create cause and effect. So we're going to do this story in this light so that the effect is that people feel this way. We're going to do the story in this light so that the people believe this to be true because people are still trusting the news as a source of facts, and it's not. It's not a source of facts anymore. And you can really see that when you're just, I mean, think about reality TV. Where's the reality in it, right? Like it's not scripted, but it's produced in such a way to create a narrative. And if that can happen, if somebody can walk around and film you and take all the negative pieces to portray you in a negative light so that people have a perspective of you, which they do, because if you know anybody who's been on a reality TV show, they'll tell you that that's what happens, then you have to think that that can be true about news. They can take the information, they can pull out bits and pieces to make you think what you're thinking as a result of it. The danger in that is your perspective. So if you're taking it to be fact, then it's going to cause a divide because you're taking what you hear on your sensationalized news station to be fact, and another person is taking what they hear on their sensitized news station to be fact. And then you're like, well, I heard this on the news, so it's fact. And you're arguing between the people when what you both heard is not 100% the truth anyway. So it really takes some research, and if you feel strongly about something, you can't just take what you're seeing on the media as fact. You have to do some research. You have to find the facts because it's not being presented in the news like it actually should be. The second one is you allow what you're seeing to manipulate you into believing the lie of perfection and in turn feel lack. So this one made me, I came to it because I was thinking about commercials. I was thinking about reels that I see on um, social media. And a lot of what I see is, what outfits should you wear to make your curvy figure thinner? Right. And so I'll see that and I'm like, well, who told anybody that I wanted to make my curvy figure thinner? Because why can't I just exist in the body that I was given and wear whatever the hell I want to wear as a result of it? Like, I don't need to pick clothes that are going to make me thinner. But then in the same feed, right? Like you could scroll through those reels and in the same feed, you'll see videos and workouts and supplements to help you grow your booty to a curvy figure. And I'm like, hold up, wait. So this video is telling me that I need to grow my figure to be curvy, but then the next video or the video before it was telling me how to make that curvy figure look thin, and they do it on purpose, right? So those messages literally make you spend all your coins, and that is the intent. So if I want to buy clothes that make me look thinner, then I'm going to spend money on those clothes to make me look thinner, right? And if I hate my curvy figure, which the messaging would make me do, then I'm going to buy clothes or supplements or workouts or workout routines, etc., that are going to make what's of me go away. In the same token, if I don't like my thin figure, then I'm going to go and buy whatever these products are. So it's literally intended to make you hate yourself and all of the parts of you that are not palatable to the world around you on purpose. So you'll go spend your hard-earned money to become something that the media has said that you should be. And if you're of a certain age, like I know the younger generations probably haven't seen this yet, but you will. But if you're of a certain age, you can remember a time back in the 90s where being thin was all the rage. So there were fat-free products on the shelves, and everybody was promoting that things were fat-free so that you wouldn't eat too much fat so that you could be thin. Well, if you look at the science behind that, eating fat doesn't make you fat. Like eating too much of certain types of fats make you gain weight or make you have fat on your body. But like eating things that have good fats in them, like an avocado, it's actually very healthy for your body. And back in the 90s, probably they would have told you that that was going to make you fat. But oh, by the way, avocados weren't popular in the 90s. So avocado toast and all the things that you've been marketed to believe is good for you and you should eat, which avocados are good for you, but that wasn't a thing back in the 90s. Like we didn't have avocado toast. It wasn't something that was promoted to us, and it wasn't something that we were going to go spend $8 on when an avocado is 25 cents. But moving on, you can tell that I clearly have a strong feeling about this. But there was a time where it was be thin, be thin, be thin, and people were starving themselves to be thin. Now it's have curves, have a booty, have a strong body. So people are starving themselves of time and spending hours in the gym to gain this aesthetically pleasing body that people are telling them that they should have. All of it is in an effort to make you hate who you are so that you'll go try to become something else, which is why you're starting to notice that the trend no longer is to focus on this one thing. It's like all the things are wrong and here's a product to fix it, right? So remember when skinny jeans came out and you couldn't wear the flared jeans anymore, or jeans that were bigger. And then it was wide leg jeans, and now it's flare jeans. Well, if you go on the American Eagle website, which usually has like the trending clothes, you can buy any style of jean, and they label them as 90s or mom jeans or whatever it is. They put the label on it to make, the nostalgia come. But the reality is they can't even keep up with what the expectation is for you to wear, be, and do to be accepted in the world that you're in. So they're just like, buy whatever jean you want, just buy the jeans. And that is what's starting to happen. It's like, we're going to tell you that all the things are wrong with you. So just buy any of the products. Because at this point, we don't even know what's trending anymore. We just know that we want to manipulate you into spending your money on this thing that's supposed to make you accepted, when in actuality, it's never going to make you accepted at all. It's just something we're feeding you so that you can feed our pockets. And that is how it works. And the other thing is, you're so confused by what the media is giving you because you actually trust it, right? You're like, okay, well, if social media says that this is the new thing, then it is. If social media says that this is the way that a body should look, then it does. If what I'm consuming is telling me that I need to be something different, then my fear is telling me that I won't belong if I'm not that something, so I'm going to kill myself to try to be that thing. You're trusting what's being fed to you to literally the goal is to get you to spend money on the thing. That is the goal. That is the marketing behind it. That is the messaging behind it. It is to get you to spend money. If you think about it that way, right? And this is like less news, even though news will do it too. It's like, there's a snowstorm coming. Go buy all the bread and milk so you'll spend money. Or gas prices are going up. Go to the pump and start putting gas in a plastic bag. Like these are the things that we feed into, right? And all of it is to get you to consume. And the irony is it's what's you're consuming that's making you feel like you need to consume the other thing. Because if you stopped consuming the media that you're actually consuming, you would feel at peace with what you actually have. You wouldn't feel that immediacy to go do something with your money, to go be something that they say that you need to be. You would just be like, I'm existing and I'm okay with that, right? But because we're allowing that narrative to be fed into us and we trust what it says, only this body type is perceived as good and beautiful, or only this type of life is perceived to be good and beautiful. So I need to have that body and this life, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, work harder, go to the gym more, get a job that pays me more so that I can have this dream that's being fed to me through the media. And I said the motive was consumerism, and it is for them. The effect that they want is for you to spend your money. But the real way that they do it is inciting fear with lies. So they're using what's not really truth to make you believe something as if it were truth, so that you will go out in fear and buy this thing or do this thing to be accepted. We don't have to do that. So what can you do about it? Well, something that I've done is I stopped watching the news. If I do come across news that's actually newsworthy news, I'll research it, and I'll actually research it. I'll look inside of magazines or scientific research to get the information. And then I also filter it. Even that information I filter. Do I believe this to be true? Is this enough evidence for me to actually believe that it exists? You can't just take this stuff as face value because it's not truth. The other thing that we can do is stop consuming things that are intended to make us consume. Look in the mirror. Find out all the things that you love about yourself. And if you want to go get the lip filler, go get the lip filler. If you want to go get Botox, get Botox. But I'm going to tell you this, you're going to get wrinkles. You're going to get old. It's a blessing to be able to do such, because there are some people who did not. But if that's your thing, go do it, but not because someone else said you should and that you should hate these parts of you, but because it's just something that you have in you that says you want to, right? When you look in the mirror, find the things that you love about yourself and stop letting people tell you what you should hate, and then go spend your money on things that you should. Go spend your money on a book. Let that book fill you with joy from the inside so that you don't care if somebody thinks your lips are too small. Go let that book fill you with joy from the inside so that you don't care if you're not being chosen by a significant other. You're existing in the space that you're in and allowing your whole being to exist there without feeling like you need anything. You lack nothing. Everything that you want and desire is at your fingertips, and you can get it not by hating yourself, but by believing in abundance, period. And we have to really stop believing the lies. Like, stop thinking that you can trust all the information that you're getting. If you're giving friends, family, and people around you access points to you, and you're like, oh, I don't like the way that, how negative I feel after leaving that person, I'm not going to give them full access to me. I don't like the way that person complains all the time, I'm not going to give them full access to me. Then you go to social media, or you go to whatever media you're using, and you go to the spaces where it leaves you feeling void, or it makes you feel like you need to be complaining more because there's more to complain about. Why would you give that full access to you when your relationships don't have that access because of how they infiltrate your system and make you feel? We have to start being smarter with what we're consuming, because the media will have you out here thinking that your character is bad, that your values are bad, that your appearance is bad, anything that they can base off of emotion and get you to fear so that they can get money in their pockets. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. And again, remember that if you are healing from a toxic relationship, go ahead and click that link for the free webinar to learn how to emerge powerfully in peace after a toxic relationship. If you don't already, go follow me on all social media sites, Instagram, Facebook, and don't forget to tune in every Monday for the Peace Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.